if some person can change their karma themselves.
If you are blessed enough to meet true spiritual people, not people showing off, and you need to have the karma for that also, that you will meet those people.
Is it the way or like an open window to go out from like my astrological chart?
I could have thought, no, this technique is not right, I will do my technique. No, I surrendered to him because he is closer to God. And when I met him, he was 132 years old.
Wow.
So Tagore has a song. He's praying to God, don't solve all my problems. Don't wipe off all my tears. Just give me the power to fight my problems. So I try to do that for people. There are some techniques for that.
Alya Pashkina, and today we are recording interview with Vedic astrologer Arjun Chakraborty. Hello, Arjun. Can you tell a few words about you, about your astrology career?
With pleasure, Alya. First of all, I must thank you for inviting me for this interview. And secondly, I would like to thank all the people who will make time to listen to me, to have a look at this interview. So in Indian style, I will tell them Namaskar.
Namaste. Thank you very much for coming.
Okay. So basically, Alya, as you have already said, that you know me for some years. So I am a Vedic astrologer from India. Vedic astrology means traditional Indian astrology. And I have been working with this for exactly 30 years now. So I started assisting my uncle when I was a teenager, and now I am working in Europe since 2007, and of course in Russia for quite a few years. I have worked in Belarus also, Kazakhstan also, and a lot of European countries, Egypt, many places. So this is all what I have done all my life.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell something about your own experience, and how did you become interested in astrology?
Okay, that's a very nice question. So I would say that, I was a little bit lost when I finished school. I was a little bit lost because I never wanted to be a normal person doing a 9 to 5 job for a company. And I was not exactly a business kind of a guy also. Like, I was not made for buying and selling, convincing people with words, marketing. So I was completely confused, a little bit lost. And my father's elder brother, late Pandit Pradyot Chakraborty, he was looking for someone who would inherit the knowledge from him. Because his daughter was not interested in this subject. She was interested in some other areas. So that was the time we found each other. And on the very first day, I decided this is exactly what I was waiting for. So I remember it was October or November 1994. And I was, so now it is, you can understand now, I have just completed 30 years of studies. And somehow, I have always been interested in mystic things. Well, I must tell you, astrology is not totally mystic. There is a science part involved as well. But somehow I have been interested in mystic things. And I used to think how my uncle can predict such accurately future. Because I thought only God can see the future. How can a human being see the future? So sometimes I used to listen to my uncle's consultations secretly from outside his cabinet. So that was when I was 11, 12, 13 years old. So maybe it was already a little bit inside me that I wanted to do something like this.
So you're so young this time. We just speak about astrology, and maybe some of our viewers even don't know what is astrology. Let's maybe start to explain about this science.
Yes. See, the biggest question is, it is a science or it is something mystic, totally mystic. So there is some question about this. Now, I must say that I would like to describe it as a spiritual science or a divine science. Of course, when a person or even a creature is born, even if that is not a human being still, so whoever is born and we note the particular date, time and place of birth, and according to that we look at the sky where all the planets were situated at that time. And there are some other technical issues which I don't want to discuss. It may be confusing. So this part is definitely astronomy. This is pure science. The calculation of planetary positions, in what speed they were moving at that time, in which direction they were moving in that time, all these things. But then comes, how do you determine the results of particular positions of planets? So it is a karmic science. We believe that there is a grammar in which position which planet feels good, in which position which planet is considered weak. There are grammars attached to astrology, both in Western, Vedic, Chinese, Mayan, Babylonian, Egyptian, in all styles. But then why some planet is in good position, why some planet is in bad position, why am I born at a particular place at a particular time on a particular date? So this is connected to the theory of karma. So basically we believe we were born earlier also many times, and what kind of activities we have done in the past incarnations that makes us experience some good and difficult things in this incarnation, in this life, and that we can see with the light of astrology. That is why astrology in Indian language is called Jyotisha. Jyotisha means the divine light. So it is a karmic science. I would like to make it short that some part of it is astronomy and some part of it is some spiritual grammar is there. So it is not a pure science and it is not a completely spooky thing. If you believe in God, then you can easily believe in astrology.
Can you please explain what is karma, maybe for some?
Yes,
it's
important. It's important to know. Basically, karma is, the word karma means what we are doing, action. So it basically means action. But I must tell you, it is not only action of this incarnation, but it is also the action of previous multiple incarnations. So there can be two kinds of karma. So when we are born, our soul has earned some karma, some good karma, some difficult karma. The good karmas will be rewarded with nice experiences. The difficult karma results in some difficult experiences in this life because that makes us deserving of punishments. So God is controlling all these things. God is the main controller, and the planets we take, they are instruments of God, or we can say they are demigods. So karma can be of two kinds, something that you cannot change at all and something you can modify or you can change with your efforts in this life. So that is two kinds of karma, fixed karma and unfixed karma. But karma is something that we have earned from actions of various previous incarnations, not only the exact previous one.
Great. A lot of questions appears from your speech.
Yes.
For example, if I come to your session and start to learn something about my astrological chart, what information can I learn about myself? Like about my future, partner, health, I know something about colors.
Yes. Actually, you can ask almost any kind of question. Almost, I am saying, because there may be some questions which I may not be able to answer, and I will surrender to you. This is too much to understand only from your birth chart. But I must tell you that in India, for example, even when a couple is looking to conceive or give birth to a child, they are supposed to consult with the astrologer first that which months or maybe which weeks are good for conception, so that the pregnancy period is smooth and the result is a healthy, wise and good natured baby.
Wow.
So even the conception time is a part of astrology which a Vedic astrologer or any kind of astrologer should be able to guide you on. So even before the baby is born, there is some plannings, astrological plannings. And then, of course, when the baby is born, the first thing that we do is in India, in the Hindu community or the Vedic community, what we do is that we basically go to the astrologer immediately after the birth of the child in a few days and say that what should be the right name for the baby. Not what should be the right name, to be precise, with what alphabets the name should begin, which so that the name is lucky for the baby. And even like that, if you are establishing a company, the name should begin with what alphabet or alphabets. That also is seen in the horoscope. That can be seen. And after that, gradually, what kind of talents a child has, all these things can be seen. But for example, if you come to me, I will understand that there will be three most important questions. Normally, one is about profession and money, one is about family, personal life, and one is that is important for everybody, how to stay healthy and fit. So these three are very important questions. There can be additional questions by special clients, that how can I attain spiritual development? What is the mission of my life? When can I buy real estate? These things can also be answered. But main guidelines are coming about personal life, what kind of partner is good for you, when you is the right time to establish the family if you already have a partner, and all these kinds of things, and also about profession, whether you should work for others or you should work for yourself, what kind of areas are lucky for you, when is the right time to expand your work, to change your job, to start a new business, any kinds of things, most practical questions, even synastry connected to you and your personal life partner or you and your business partner, all these things can be checked.
And can we check astrology chart for company or for country?
We can check, but I must tell you, this is a slightly debatable issue, because when exactly the time we will take for a country's origin or birth, about these things, even many famous astrologers have multiple opinions. But there are ways, there are rules you can check. But about company, it is much easier. About company, you can definitely check. And I even have the experience of making horoscope of cats and dogs.
Wow.
Yes. But this is funny, but some families count them as their family members, and when they are ill, when they have problems, they want to help them also. But in general, for company, it is a very frequent thing that we do. It helps.
Cool, that's interesting. I want to come back to the question about children.
Yeah.
So I can choose even the date of conception to find better and healthier and happier life for my child.
Actually, it is said in ancient Indian astrology that if you can understand the time of conception, it is actually the time of union between the man and the woman, the relationship. So then, and if you make a horoscope of that moment, if that is a good horoscope, the baby will be born also with an equally good horoscope. So that is why that time is important. At least it should not be an inauspicious time. You cannot always find a perfectly lucky period. Maybe the next 6 months, the next 2 years don't give you any perfect period. So I am not asking people to wait for 2 years. But at least you have to understand that you need to avoid the real bad periods. Otherwise, the pregnancy period can be tough. But even if that is smooth, the child will be born with some aggressive or nervous characters, or they can have a problem with memory, problem with some physical health issues. So at least we need to avoid the bad periods. If we can at least do the conception in a normal period, you can expect some good results.
So is it right that I already can find what qualities, what kind of character I want my children?
Actually, to some extent, it is a little bit in your birth horoscope. For example, if the birth horoscope says your first child will be a very nice, soft person, a kind hearted, spiritual, talented person, then even if you choose a normal period, the result will be quite good. But if, specially, the birth horoscope that you have, it shows, for example, your second child is supposed to be a very problematic child. So in that case, you need to consult the astrologer more, more importantly, to make sure that it is not a bad time. But then even if you do it in a good time, some problem will be there, but the problem will be less. So there is something called basic karma, which you cannot avoid completely. So first we need to see the birth horoscope of the mother and the father. So what it promises. According to that, we can choose the good bad times. But it may be two couples conceive at the same good time, but there can be different results. Not bad, but some normal and some very good. That depends on the birth karma, the birth position. Yes.
Okay. I want to come back to a general question, and can you please explain the difference between European astrology and Vedic astrology?
See, firstly, I must tell you, I have a lot of European astrologer friends, and I learn regularly from them. I have learned some things from the Globa system, which is a Russian system. I am indebted to that system also. So I am not against any system. I believe all these long tried and tested systems are good to make very good predictions, very good advices. But there are two kinds of differences between Western and Vedic astrology. One difference is astronomical. There are some different kinds of rules. For example, in Western astrology, you judge, or it is very common to see what is your sun sign. Like I am born on August 21, and I have checked my sun sign is Leo. But, so it means, according to the Western astrological horoscope, when I was born, my sun was in the region of Leo in the sky. But in my same horoscope, it is possible that my sun may not be in Leo in the Vedic horoscope. It may even be in Cancer. Or it can be some difference of any other planets. Maybe, for example, I will give you a quite clear example. My Saturn is in Cancer in Vedic astrology horoscope, in Leo in Western astrology horoscope. So, but you must not get confused by it. When you check predictions of an astrologer according to Western astrology, you have to understand that your Saturn is in Leo. I have to understand my Saturn is in Leo. But when I am going to a Vedic astrologer, I will admit the fact that my Saturn is in Cancer. So there is a difference of 23.5 degrees of positioning in the sky of every planet in Western and Vedic astrology. So this is an astronomical thing. This I don't want to, elaborate much. But in normal things, I will tell you an experience. In 2007, I was invited in Sweden, in Gothenburg and Lund universities, in their Department of Religions, to give a lecture on Vedic astrology topic. So I was quite young at that time. I was very excited. And also I was going to give a lecture in the Vilnius University in Lithuania. So in both Sweden and in Lithuania, I learned something very important. There were wonderful Western astrologers, highly respected Western astrologers who came to listen to me. So I asked two of them, one in Vilnius and one in Lund, that you know very good astrology. As I discussed with you, you are making very nice predictions, you have a lot of clients. Why do you think it makes sense to come to my lecture? My system is different. So they said, they were much older than me, so they said, Arjun, you see, only in Vedic astrology or Indian astrology, you have a lot of rules and descriptions how to change the luck, how to change the destiny, how to solve problems. We are mainly making predictions and giving advices and telling people what you should expect and helping them psychologically also. But you can actually use some techniques which can change some things. If somebody is expected to have a big trauma, you can make it smaller. Or if you see somebody can have very difficult, for example, 2025 for money, you can make it a little bit less difficult, not 100% change. We are not God. So this is something called remedial astrology. That is a part of Vedic astrological science, Vedic astrology subject. It's huge. Every Vedic astrologer has to learn a lot about remedial astrology. So this is something that is very different from all other styles. We have lot of ancient Sanskrit books, thousands of words talking about what you should do in what kind of planetary positions to make your life easier. So this is something extraordinary in Vedic astrology. So this, I would say, is a big difference, and there are some spiritual differences. Vedic astrology is extremely spiritual. Like, we don't consult a human being, we consult a soul. If somebody says, I want to open a business of alcohol, tell me when I should open it. I may tell that person, but I have to warn that person it is not good for your karma. So these things, this is Vedic astrology. And in Vedic astrology, the astrologer has to be spiritual, has to believe in God. The astrologer has to do some spiritual practices himself or herself. So there are some differences, but the main difference is the remedial astrology part, which is extraordinary in Vedic astrology. I think my success is mainly because of that.
You mentioned a very interesting topic about some tools to change karma. Maybe you'll tell something more about upayas and all these tools.
Yes, that is the right word, because you have been my friend for some years now. You know, there is a typical modern word in northern India which is used as upaya. So I will tell you. See, from 2001 to 2016, for 15 years. I have done at least 15,000 consultations in my city in Calcutta. I come from the East Indian city of Calcutta. It's a big city. We have 10 million people. It's very crowded. Anyways, so there I have done these consultations, and I have realized one thing. There is a major difference between clients in India and clients in Europe. Clients in India expect you to do some miracles. They expect the astrologer has some special techniques. He will do some things and make our wish fulfill our wish. So this puts a large amount of pressure. It puts a huge pressure on the astrologer. So often people come to astrologer and say, tell us some upayas. Upayas are some things magical, not magical. It is not magical, it is karmic and spiritual. I don't like to use the word magical. But still they say, do something magical to make sure my son becomes a doctor. Or do something magical to arrange a nice marriage for my daughter. Or do something magical so that the income tax department stops my case and I can do my business peacefully. All these kinds of things. So we are forced to suggest them different kinds of rituals and minerals. So there are many kinds of ways. Now, if you see many Indian famous people, when they are talking in TV, in interview, often you will see they are wearing some beautiful rings with valuable minerals on their fingers, or something like, as bracelet, or maybe even as a pendant. So these are astrological minerals. So many Indians like to use astrological minerals because in ancient Indian texts of astrology, each planet is connected with a mineral. So now in the grammar of astrology, if I decide, for example, your Jupiter is your friend, but unfortunately it is weak. It wants to help you, but it is not being able to do well enough. So it means you are receiving less cosmic energy from Jupiter. So I will suggest you to wear a piece of yellow sapphire, which is normally very good, we get from Sri Lanka. So piece of yellow sapphire on the right hand, on this finger, or as a pendant. And when you wear this continuously, you are gradually forcefully attracting more cosmic energy from Jupiter, which is your friend, but not giving you enough results. So then you start getting better results. So similarly, there are some rituals, some negative energy cleansing rituals. Now, if there is a planet, for example, you have a very bad position of Mars, and Mars is your enemy, it wants to do damage to you because you have some bad karma connected to Mars, for example. So you are a very aggressive person in your past life. You have damaged some people, some people's reputation, some people's professions by being over aggressive. And in this life, you are facing aggression from members of the family, from members of your colleagues. So we need to do something for your planet Mars. So then it is possible on a Tuesday. I'm giving you just an example. Tuesday is the day of Mars. On Tuesday, in India, we organize some special rituals with holy chantings from morning to afternoon, huge amount of chantings, plus some ritual with fire. And these things are done and we send some videos to our clients. So this has often helped a lot of people. I do them for myself, for my wife, for my father-in-law, and these often kind of gives you some relief from negative planets. But there are some other many techniques also. I cannot discuss everything, it will get boring and difficult to understand for people. But I must tell you that I have a lot of experience where I have used these techniques and some good things have happened in the lives of people. Of course, I cannot give you 100% guarantee with anything because we are not God. We have to understand that God is the judge and astrologer is your advocate. So astrologer is putting your case in a nicely arranged way in front of God. The final decision to grant your wish or not is in God's hands.
So now you told about some spiritual parts, and also I have like my own question. Is it the way or like open window to go out from like my astrological chart and maybe to do something more than only rituals, maybe to do some spiritual practice, do yoga, meditation, or meet somewhere spiritual or saint people? Can I change my
I will
karma?
tell you an experience of mine, my own life experience. You know, my wife always tells me, your lectures are very boring unless you talk about some stories. So my wife has been to many of my lectures and she normally doesn't listen to my lectures anymore. She stays at home, but she always asks me, I hope you told some stories. So I will tell you something from my own life. Now, it was the year 2013. So I was going through a very bad period which was physically dangerous. Like I was supposed to have some very big disease or very big trauma. I might have died also. So at that time I was worried. I checked my horoscope with my some other older astrologers in Calcutta who were like my teachers or friends of my teachers, and they all agreed it is a dangerous time. Something needs to be done before this time arrives. So, luckily, my Latvian business partners, who are my Latvian organizers of my programs in Riga, they had a special Indian guru in the Himalayas. His name was Tirth Maharaj or Prakashanand Maharaj. Now, I went to meet him in the Himalayas. It is in a village. He is not looking to meet too many people. He is not like nowadays, spiritual gurus who like to be on the media. He's totally against. And when I met him, he was 132 years old.
Wow.
That is according to his passport, but local villagers said he's older. And he was not using any glasses. His teeth were original. He could hear everything clearly. He could write very clearly English. He was educated in London. And he told me that I will do a special ritual for you. Here in this mountain, you have to come back after 3 months. So I went to him. I knew what I could do, but it was such a dangerous period that I thought maybe it is good to take the help of a special spiritual guru. His blessings will be special. So he arranged a special. I went 3 months later with my mother. My mother was extremely worried. So he arranged a special ritual. Like he asked me what is my body weight. I said I was about 70, 75 kilo at that time. So he asked his servant to go to the grocery shop and bring a lot of products like 80 kilograms of mustard oil, 80 kilograms of wheat, 80 kilograms of sugar, all more than my body weight. And then there was some special rituals with all those products. We were doing some mantras or holy chantings and throwing them into a big hole. So that was done. And when I came back, I thought we have done whatever we have done. And I thought, I hope I will survive, but it cannot be a good time because it's one of the worst indicated times. But that became one of the best periods of my life. I thought a bad period can be turned into a neutral period, not a good period. A neutral period can be turned into a good period. But this special teacher is so blessed and so divine that he changed my bad period into a good period. It was amazing. And I must tell you that you know who is the Prime Minister of India. I'm not going to take any name. Even he has been several times to this guru. So that this guru told me himself and told, don't tell anybody. But after so many years, I cannot control myself. I'm so grateful to this guru. So sometimes if you are blessed enough to meet true spiritual people, not people showing off, true spiritual people, and you need to have the karma for that also, that you will meet those people. And if you surrender to them, no ego. I am also an astrologer. I could have thought, no, this technique is not right. I will do my technique. No, I surrendered to him because he is closer to God. So he changed my destiny very easily with one big day of ritual. But that whole day he made me do a lot of physical activities and I was not allowed to drink even water. So it was something tough for me, but only one day. And it made my life different for the next 1 year. So I must tell you that things can be changed, but I may not be able to change things upside down. I may give you some protection, but if you meet spiritual people, if you do spiritual practices, if you believe in God strongly, not just saying that I believe in God, believing and talking is two different things. So if you truly believe and you can surrender, God will send someone. God will not come himself or herself. God will send someone like a messenger of God.
So do you feel that real faith can come and if some person not only go to some saint people but can change their karma themselves?
Not so easy. Not so easy. See, you can do a lot of practices. But for example, if I see in the horoscope, like for example, charities. Charity is a very good thing. Charity or being a volunteer for some needy people, for poor people, for ill people, all these things are very nice things to do. They can gradually erase bad karma. But if you have a bad position of sun, there will be some specific charity. For example, charity for blind people. If you have a bad position of moon, it should be charity for mentally ill people or looking after mentally ill people or being kind to your mother, elder sister, aunt, this kind of people. So you need to know some techniques. What exactly you need to do in this incarnation to get quick results. And sometimes you may need to use minerals also. Because you see, these process, the spiritual practice or these good deeds, these are, for example, like eating well, doing sports. But if you are very ill, extremely ill, you may need a surgery or you may need antibiotics. After that, you have the time and scope to do some yoga, to do some sports, to take care of your health. So these techniques which I am telling you, sometimes they are like life saving. So they make the problem 20% less, as if the water was here, now the water is here. Now you get some time to do other things. So we need to mix the techniques of astrology plus your own efforts. Then only you can expect good results.
Great. I think that generally people love some examples. Maybe
Oh yes, oh
stories.
yes.
Maybe you can tell some more stories
Yes.
about your clients. Maybe you know some especially stories when someone just changed their life after astrology session.
Yes, I will tell you about one case which is not my case, but it was my uncle's case. But I was assisting my uncle at that time. So it is about this case is about changing a man's financial condition from terribly bad, like totally bankrupt, to very good. How this happened? My uncle was a very confident astrologer somehow, or he pretended to be confident. Like when people spoke to him for half hour, or they felt the energy of my uncle, and they started believing, yes, I still have hope. So there was an elderly man about 60 years old. He used to come to my uncle almost every month and discuss over some questions. So I was assisting my uncle at that time. Once my uncle was not in the cabinet, and he had come, and we were both waiting for my uncle who was having breakfast. So once I asked this man, in India we call unknown people also uncle, like this. Uncle, why do you believe my uncle so much? You come every month, but why so much trust? What happened? Because I was very young, I was just 19, I was assisting my uncle for 1 year, and he was coming to my uncle for 4 5 years. So this man told me that 5 years ago I had a business connected to iron, and I was so badly bankrupt that I owed money to 10 people, and I was thinking of killing myself because I knew I have no way out of this, and I don't even have my wife's ornament to sell and give them. So he was thinking of killing himself. But at that time, somebody told him, please meet Pradyot Chakraborty. This is your last hope, but maybe he will change something. So my uncle saw his horoscope. I still remember the horoscope. This man had a great position of Mars. So Mars is connected to real estate, land, bricks, cement, building materials. So my uncle told him, he says that your uncle told me that you are so badly in debt, take some more debt and somehow start a business of building materials. So he started that, and within 3 years, he solved all his problems and became very rich. So this is simple grammar. This is not about solving the problem with some upayas. My uncle did some upayas at that moment to protect him from the worst position, because the next 3 months he was almost not living in his house. He was hiding here and there from money lenders. So my uncle did some upaya just to give him some opportunity, and then the money lenders said we will wait for 6 months. Most of them agreed. So that was the result of the upayas, something my uncle did. I don't remember what exactly, but it was probably some fire ritual, because he did not have the money to buy minerals. So then what happened, that he started this business, and amazingly his luck started changing. So he did not know that this is his real lucky area. And Mars was in such a perfect position, like 99% perfect. Nothing can be 100% perfect, but 99% perfect. And his life completely changed. And he was going to kill himself. And he became a happy, respected, and successful businessman.
Yeah, that's really a great result.
Yes, that was amazing. And after I listened to this, my faith on astrology and my respect for my uncle increased 5 times. But I have also done some things like this. Yes.
You told a really interesting story with a good experience.
Yes.
And is there any experience even when you
Bad
give some?
experience.
Some.
I will tell you. I cannot name anyone, but just few years back, I still cannot forget. There was a lady in Bulgaria, in Sofia. I work regularly in Sofia. So there was a lady in Sofia. She was suffering from cancer, but the surgery was done. She was having breast cancer. After surgery, she seemed okay. She seemed okay. So at after the surgery, when it looked that she is okay, she came for my consultation. And when I did the consultation, I felt something is wrong. The horoscope normally shows she should be okay, but somehow some strange thing happened. I tell you, when she left after the consultation, I felt very ill. And I had some indigestion of my lunch and I started vomiting. I went to the toilet and I had been vomiting a bit. And it was immediately after she left, before I met anyone else. So I could understand that this case is not easy. This is a branch of Vedic astrology called Nimitta, or the study of signs like omens, what is happening around you, what is happening with you, sounds, smells, all these things. So I could understand, oh my goodness, this looks terrible. So I could not tell her this. I cannot tell her this because she's not in that kind of a mental state. I cannot tell her this. But she had two problems. One was this health. She wanted to know that hopefully it will not come back. And the second thing was her husband wanted to divorce her. He was involved with another woman. But after doing some very powerful upaya, her husband changed. Her husband left the other woman and started loving her again. And she informed me that I'm very happy. My husband cares about me so much now. It is like when we had marriage 20 years ago. Those days have come back. So I was very happy that at least one thing has happened. But I told my wife, I showed her picture on WhatsApp and told my wife, I think she will not live. So I even told my organizer in Sofia, I think this person, I will not be able to save her. So then, for some reason, she went for some procedures in Turkey. For what reason, I don't know. And there, she died. Suddenly, she was fine. In 7 days, she died. But at least she died with some mental peace that her husband was her only. But I could not save her. Sometimes God tries to tell you that this is a fixed decision, this is fixed karma. You cannot change this. You can try, but we are supposed to try. You see, we are supposed to try. A doctor will also try, an advocate will also try, a psychologist will also try. We also try our best. But Vedic astrology is half is normal consultation and half is problem solving methods. It is, and a bit is also psychological support.
So, do you usually tell all the truth, or you feel what to say, or what better not to say?
This question was asked to me in Germany. In 2009, I was lecturing in German Astrologers Association. It is called DAV, Deutschland Astrology something. So they had annual general conference in Bonn. So there I went to lecture, and normally my lectures are very funny. I mix some stories. I am normally a humorous person, and people were very happy. So some students, young students came. They became my friends. So they asked me, "Do you lie?" I told them, "I can turn lying into an art. I can lie so well. Only my wife or my mother can catch my lies. I lie very well. I have to lie sometimes because some things you cannot tell. Some things, for example, just few days back, I was in Italy. I was in Italy in a place near Florence. So I was consulting. A man and a woman, a young couple, not so young, around 30 couple. They were together for 10 years. They came and the woman was very excited. But they wanted to have 2 hours consultation. But on that evening, we could accommodate only 1 hour, and the next morning will be 1 hour. So I was happy with that. So that evening, the woman was asking many nice questions. I saw that the man wants to leave her. I saw the man wants to leave her. But still, I was surprised. The man was acting so nicely that he is deeply in love with this woman. So I could not tell her that your husband is going to leave you. I just told that next 1 year, be a little bit careful about your relationship. After you pass this period, everything will be fine. But I told something the next 1 year not good. If I don't say that and something bad happens, my reputation is at stake. I have to save my reputation also. At least she will say that the astrologer could see something. She won't say the astrologer didn't see any hint. It's not like that. And the next morning, the man came alone. I understood. Now he is going to say what he has in his mind. And he said, I am trying to find a way to come out of this relation. I don't understand how to tell her. She's so emotional. She loves me so much. I can't tell her. I can't understand how to tell this to her. But I want to come out of this relation. So you see, I could not tell this clearly to this woman. Also, in that case in Bulgaria, I understood I will not be able to save this lady. She will probably have some cancer or some other thing again. I could not tell her. I don't care. Somebody says I am a bad astrologer, whatever happens. But I cannot tell some things beyond some things. There has to be a limit what I can say. Only once I remember in Calcutta, in my city, I told a man, yes, probably you are going to die very soon. Because this was a man, ex-army, and he was a very strong man. He has been to war. He is not afraid of death. He wanted to ask me because he had to take some financial decisions to care about his children, his wife, and he requested me, I need to know for the future of my family. Please tell me. Now, I must tell you one thing. The most difficult calculation is the calculation of death, when a person will die. So I am never fully confident with this. Nobody can be fully confident. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't get it right. So I just told him, see, there is a big danger. Of course, only God can say when a person will die, but you have to do the preparations. It is better to prepare yourself. Something can happen in the next 1 year. But he was already ill. So then I don't know what happened. He didn't come back. But this was only one situation in such a long experience of mine that I was forced to tell this kind of a thing directly to the client. I felt very bad, but I thought it was my responsibility.
So I feel, yeah, that being astrologer is really a big responsibility. And
it is a big responsibility. You know, it was in Minsk. I will tell you one more thing. It is amazing what happened. It was in Minsk. Before I started working in Russia, I was working in Minsk. So there was a young girl who was about 23, 24 years old. She came for my consultation from another city, from Vitebsk or something like that. She came by bus for my consultation. And during the consultation, she told me that, my consultation fee was, I will not mention, but it was quite significant for a young girl. It was quite substantial, the consultation fee. And she told me that I don't have work for the last 3 months. I just did some translation in this month and earned. Exactly, he mentioned the amount of money that she has to pay for my consultation, the same amount. That's all she has earned in the previous month. So I was surprised. I see this girl believes in astrology so much. I told her, so you thought that your 1 month income, you earned very little. You want to give it away for my 1 hour of consultation, the full amount. She said, why not? A consultation can change a life. Wow, I didn't think like that. My job, I have to do it well. at least sincerely. I may be wrong, but I have to do it sincerely because somebody believes my consultation can change her life, and she has come from another city by bus and paying her 1 month income to talk to me for 1 hour, get some advices so that her life changes for good. So you can understand what kind of a responsibility is it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people believe like in miracles, and in some way they want to give this part of responsibility to you. Not
Oh, yes, this is true. This is a problem. But I must tell you, I feel a little bit less pressure working in Europe because my European clients, quite often, they are connected with some spiritual practices, and sometimes their friends and relatives who are normal material people, they also come because their relatives or friends have suggested. But normally, the people who are connected with some kind of spiritual practices, they are very practical. They believe in their own karma, and they don't put all the blame or all the responsibility on the astrologer. But in India, for some reason, people expect miracles from me. And the problem is there are many astrologers and tantra practitioners who claim that they have superpower. Even in the West, some astrologers do claim that. I have seen some advertisements that, but please don't lose your common sense. Now, if an astrologer is a magician, something like God, then she will not have to advertise. The biggest leaders of the world will queue up in front of her. All the problems in the world, or at least in that country, will get solved. India has a lot of problems. Why can't we solve all the problems? Why can't we solve the India Pakistan issue? We cannot. Because some things are fixed by God that we have to go through. And the part of the karma which we can change, in that I can help you. So I cannot bring a complete change. This is absurd. Don't trust these kinds of false claims. Then you will be disappointed and you will think that astrology is not a proper subject. So this is my request to you. Be practical. Astrology is not magic. It is like medicine. A doctor cannot save you every time. An advocate cannot win each and every case. A psychologist cannot solve every problem in one go overnight. So take it in a very practical frame of mind, but you have to believe in the existence of God.
You remind me about a question I wanted to ask about my experience, and I remember that you told me some good and bad periods, and that it is good for me if I will be as fast as I can to start some projects, for example, to launch even my YouTube channel and so on. And I felt some pressure that I really need to be in time, and then it will be too late. Can you give some advice what to do with this, some kind of pressure when a person relies too much on this?
No, see, it is not relying, you should not rely too much. I would not say you should take all the decisions in your life based on any astrologer or tarot card reader, not like that. But if an astrologer tells you that in the next 6 months it's a lucky period, try to do these things as fast as possible, you should at least try. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Okay, the life is not coming to an end. But if he says it is a good period, for example, to start a business, for example, to conceive a child, you can at least make some effort to do it. Don't get nervous. That will make the situation more difficult. You will make more mistakes. But just keep it in mind in a calm and cool way. Try to do it. For example, I will tell you, there are different kinds of trains. There is a local train like that runs from different small villages and goes like that. So once I was with my most favorite astrology teacher, Professor Ashok Bhattacharya. He was a scientist actually for Indian government, and he established astrological school, which I'm leading at this moment. And I joined this school in the year 2000. Now it is 2024. I'm leading this school now. So he told me, once the train was standing and the train will leave at exactly 8 o'clock and it was 7:59. So I started running. My teacher said, don't run, never run, walk fast. If you can catch it, good. If you don't catch it, you will take the next train.
Yeah.
So we should try, not get nervous. It's not that if I cannot do it, everything will finish. It's not that. We have some good and bad periods. If we can use it, it will be good. So we should try. That's all. Don't be stressed.
We told about like some good and bad examples, what do you say for some skeptical people, maybe who don't believe in astrology?
I have no complaints against them. I don't think everybody has to believe in each and every subject in the world. Many people may not believe in some political leaders. Many people may not believe in some medicines. So I don't think it is necessary to force everyone to believe in astrology or even to believe in God. It is okay. Now, if that person is a good human being, maybe one person believes there is no God, nature has given us birth. There was Big Bang theory, in the Big Bang, God did not create anything, whatever. I have no complaints. But if the person is a good human being, if the person is kind, doing the right things, not cheating people, not aggressive, not greedy, if the person is good, I think God resides in that person's heart. He doesn't know. So everybody doesn't need to learn or know astrology. But sometimes I get some clients who are skeptic. They have come because somebody has pushed them. Please go, please go. So these consultations are normally stressful consultations because whatever you say, they will say it could happen to anyone. It happened to me, but I don't think it is so special. So sometimes I try to say some things about the past. Sometimes they match, sometimes they even forget. They don't try to remember those things well. So the skeptic clients consultations normally I try to avoid. But some people come as skeptic, but actually they, as I told you, they are good people. They come with an open mind. Okay, let's see if it works. At least that attitude is fine. So it is skeptic, but 50-50. He's ready to listen to you. But if somebody is strongly against the idea of astrology, I don't think it is my responsibility to put astrology or like force astrology on that person. But I would respect that person if he's a good human being.
You told about some spiritual practices and some practices which astrologer should do.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell something about these practices and also some qualities. How can I choose good astrologer?
Whether you choose an astrologer or you choose a doctor or you choose a lawyer or psychologist or whatever, or even a beautician, I think the best way is to go for proper references. That is the best way. Now, we were talking just before starting this interview that I don't have Instagram, I don't have YouTube channel. I don't have any really online teaching platform, and I post once in 2-3 months one post in Facebook. So I'm mostly away from social media. But still I have enough clients. Thank God. Thanks to God completely and thanks to my blessings of my late teachers that people are coming back to me or they are sending their friends and relatives or their colleagues. So this makes me very satisfied. So whenever somebody comes for my consultation, I normally ask them, how did you know about me? So when they tell that somebody has suggested me, I feel very happy. So when you don't go after images, images can be created by spending money, by making lot of advertisements, by making fake videos. A lot of things can be done in this world. So don't go by images. Rather you go by when you listen to a person speaking, try to understand the words if you agree with that person. If the person is not claiming something unnatural, if something unnatural is being claimed, you have to doubt. And the third thing is, if you have some references, if somebody tells you, I have been to this person is good, and this person has given me some relief or some predictions which are correct, go to that astrologer. You don't have to come to me. You see, you go for references. But in general, I always tell my students, I have been teaching astrology for almost 25 years. So in Europe, I'm teaching from 2007. I have also Russian videos, like English videos with Russian subtitles from which people can study Vedic astrology. So I always tell my students in India and in abroad that please don't think you are something special. Everybody is special in their own profession. You are not special like some kind of half god or anything like that. Everybody is special. So respect all your clients and don't think that you deserve any special respect or anything like that, and try to do your best. Don't So your behavior towards your clients also should be nice, should be warm. You should behave nicely and you should make your client feel comfortable when she or he comes and sits in front of you, so that the person can feel that this is a well-wisher I have come to speak with and this person wants to do good to me. And please try not to cheat the person in any way. And please, if you if you hurt that person unknowingly, unwillingly, please make sure you apologize, even if it is a much younger person. So some basic things we must follow actually. So if you find an astrologer like this, I think you can trust that astrologer. Of course, experience also. You can check how much experience that astrologer is. That can also be checked.
And also, what kind of spiritual practices should astrologer?
I believe in, I have seen many people doing a lot of spiritual practices. But sometimes I ask them, what do you mean by spiritual practice? I do this mantra, different religions. I go to church, I go to temple, I go to mosque, I do these things, I do these mantras, I am doing these rituals. So what I do is there are some astrological mantras, some astrological gods, like my most important Vedic deity is Ganesha, because he is the god of astrology. And the planets are also demigods. So I do some chanting, some prayers to Ganesha and the planets. Because I am an astrologer, I need the blessings of the planets to read their movements and to understand their intentions. That is important. If they don't allow me, I will never understand. This is something. The other thing is that I think even if you don't do spiritual practices, you practice spirituality in your daily life. It means being a good human being. You be good to people, you be kind to people, be honest with people, be kind to animals, whatever you can do, and try to control anger, try to control jealousy, try to control ego. If you can do greed, all these kinds of things, then you are already practicing, doing spiritual practice in everyday life. So only practicing spirituality and then going to your business and cheating people, it will not help. So spiritual practice is being spiritual inside, truly. So for me, that is most important for common people. Some people don't even know what is God, what is mantra, they don't believe in God, but they are so nice people. And there are some people who are going to temple every day because they know they are doing a lot of wrong things. They want to protect themselves from God's blessings. So for me, spend at least 15-20 minutes of time, your appointment with God, any form of God, any religion, do it a little bit, half hour, you think about God, thank God for everything, don't only complain, but be a be a good human being. That is the biggest spiritual practice for me.
How do you feel? Does it matter what kind of religion, for example, I'm in? For example, if I'm Christian, can I use some upayas from astrological sessions?
For me, it doesn't make a difference because a soul does not have a religion. It is very temporary. Maybe in your previous incarnation you were born in a Buddhist family. This incarnation you are born in a Christian family. So in Vedic system, I have applied Vedic techniques on people from all religions, no exceptions. Like Christian, Muslim, Yazidi, and some religions I haven't even heard of. They told me that I heard from Hebrews. I have used on all kinds of people, and they have worked. Even sometimes, in Christianity, sometimes in the earlier days, when somebody suicided, unfortunately for some grief, they have been deprived of normal funerals. Like the soul was punished, proper funeral was not done. So I have arranged Vedic funerals for those souls because it will work. I have no doubt it will work, and it has worked also. Because some people could feel that person, and after those funerals, the soul is free. They don't feel that energy anymore. So I don't have anything against, but it is, I would request that have a little bit of respect for it. Just even if you don't respect, be open, be neutral. If you are not respecting it, the rituals will probably not work, or there are less chance of working. So you just have to be respectful or at least neutral. It doesn't matter in which religion you are.
So do you feel that spirituality is like something universal?
Of course, it is something universal. Because, for example, my wife is Christian. But we both go to temples, churches, we go everywhere. We pray to God in all forms, also in no form. In Islam there is no form. So we are not against anything. We believe God is so strong and so powerful that God can take any form. God can become formless. There is no limitation to God's abilities. So that's why God can be worshipped in any form or no form. This is what I believe. My wife also believes in this. Normally in India, when a woman marries a man from another religion, she changes to the man's religion. But we did not do it. We have married according to a special law called Special Marriage Act. So we haven't changed our religions. No need. I never asked her, please become a Hindu. I've never asked her. Because I believe she's a spiritual person. She's a very nice person. And it makes no difference for me where you are going to pray. Yeah.
So am I right that in astrology there are some like general rules, some karmic rules, and all the people can rely on these rules?
But I must say one thing, that in some religions like Christianity, Islam, probably it is not, the reincarnation of the soul is not exactly accepted. So they will not be able to take it as a karmic subject. They can say, because of God's wish, we are getting these results. Because of God's wish. I am in Russia. I'm a big fan of Khabib. This great UFC fighter. Yeah. So I love him because every time he says, God give me everything, Allah give me everything. I have no problem he's telling Allah, not Shiva. I have absolutely no problem. Because he loves God, he believes in God, he tells people go to God. But he says that God give me everything. Once he is saying many people worked hard like me, but God give me. So somebody like this can also come to astrology, that God has given me this horoscope. But we can say God has given Khabib, not others, because in the previous incarnation Khabib did a lot for many people. So this time Khabib deserved to be taken care by God. So you can go by God's wish or you can go by karma. But we are welcome to benefit from Vedic astrology or any form of astrology.
Have you ever looked at some astrological charts of some famous people?
Maybe I have, but I cannot mention them. I have seen horoscope of one of the current Eastern European presidents, finance minister of another country, in India also, And from my childhood, I have been a big sports lover. So I feel very happy and excited when some sports person comes to me. So I have seen the horoscope of one Russian boxing champion who is the world undefeated boxing professional champion at this moment. He did not come, unfortunately. His wife and mother-in-law came to check about his fight, upcoming fight. So I have his horoscope. My prediction was correct. And once, but I must tell you, sometimes we get things wrong also. I'm not trying to give the impression that I'm right every time. I can be wrong. I'm human. But once I will tell you, in one Baltic country, they were going to have the presidential election some years ago, not now, 7-8 years ago. And I was invited to a television program, a big channel, to predict the winner of the presidential election. Huge pressure. Your reputation is at stake if you get it wrong. And very interestingly, there were 6 contestants. 3 contestants gave their time of birth to those journalists. Even the time of birth, because they also wanted to know what the astrologer says. And 3 others did not give the time of birth. But one person's indication was so strong, so strong. I said, I cannot be, but I had one excuse to protect myself, to save my face, that I don't have the time of birth of all 6. I have only 3, so I may get it wrong. But so I had less pressure. So I mentioned this person, and this person won the presidential election. He became the president. And so he became 2 times. Again, next time also he became. But then it was very nice that they said that last month there was a face reader we invited from Estonia. She also came and she saw the pictures of all these 6 people, and she said the same person. So I got more confidence. And this man won quite comfortably. But I get things wrong also, let me tell you.
So do you have some statistics maybe about
it? Is very difficult to maintain statistics. The problem is, quite often people don't write you back. Doctors say something, no news is good news. When do we, after we get okay, do we call the doctor and say, thank you doctor, my fever is gone? We don't say. Yeah. Or sometimes even if my fever is not gone, do we call the doctor and say you are wrong? We normally just go to another doctor. So, but I talked about it to one of my clients who was a psychologist. So I was at one moment about 10 years ago, I was worried about this. Am I good or not? Or I was worried about this. And I was talking to this psychologist that I will take your consultation because I'm very worried about this. So I took this psychologist's consultation. She was a very young girl, 25, 26, but she was very talented. And she was my client also. So she told me that, see, you can never keep an exact account of this. If you are doing your practice, you are not advertising, still your clients are increasing. Gradually, day by day, people are saying good things about you. More and more, your appointments are getting filled up. You have to think that you are not doing too badly. You are doing your job. Okay. So this is, I can tell you, my appointments are normally quite occupied. So, but it is because people don't exactly, give you the feedbacks all the time. So sometimes they may be angry with me, or sometimes they may think he got it right because it is his job. Why should I compliment him by telling him? So you can never say. But sometimes I get messages that something hasn't happened. Sometimes I get messages something's happened. But my clients have increased.
Astrology is an ancient science, and how do you feel, is it important for modern people?
See, there are so many ancient sciences, like medicine. It is also ancient. Do you think before the invention of modern medicine, people were not using anything for their health? They were using, diseases were that time also. So everything that comes ancient, some ways of life, lifestyle, these are all applicable in all ages. you may need to change some techniques, make some adjustments. Those things we do. Those things we do. Like, for example, in Vedic astrology, we don't have mentions of Argentina, we don't have mention of Mexico, we don't have mention of Portugal. But now people will ask me, is Portugal a good country for me or Spain is a good country for? Where should I go and live? Or where should I do business? So I have to learn some things from modern Western astrology also. Modern astrologers have done some research. I learn from them. I myself do some modern research. So some things you need to change. There was a time when in India one man had 100 wives. But that doesn't happen anymore. So there were some astrological rules that with this combination you will have 100 wives. So I have to change the combination now. So similarly, there are many kinds of changes I have to make even when I work in India and when I work in Europe. But I must tell you, after 2016, I almost don't work in India. I am teaching but not consulting in India. My students are consulting in India. I give them the opportunity. So then what happens? That, for example, synastry for marriage or relationship, whatever happens. In India, there are some rules. There are 8 kinds of rules that you have to check. But I don't use those rules when I am judging synastry in Europe. Those things will not match. Because the requirements of a happy marriage in India are different. What people expect in a marriage in India are different. And what people understand by marriage and expect in a marriage in Europe are different. So I had to make multiple changes in those systems. So I use the 8 systems, but in many different ways, completely different ways. So my courses for Indian students and for European students or American students, very much different. Lot of materials are different. I will tell you one funny thing. As I told you, in 2007, it was the first time I came to Europe. I was doing a lecture, I think in Lithuania. I was doing a lecture in a yoga center. So there was an old lady who was listening, but most of the time she was sleeping. Anyways, but she was at the back and she did not create any problems for anyone. But when I finished the lecture, I was very young. I was how much? I was 30. She came forward and asked in Lithuanian, what is my name? So my organizer who was translator, and my name is Arjun. Hey, how old are you? I said, I'm 30 years old. Then she said, are you married? I said, yes, I'm married just 4 months ago. Then she said, what shocked me, how many children do you have? Because in India, we have children after marriage. We don't have children before marriage. That is in 99.9% situations in India. So in India, we are taught to check first the date of marriage, then the time of children. But I cannot use the same technique for Europe. I have to use differently. Now, when I worked in Kazakhstan, in Egypt, I thought I have to change even more things. Their society is a little more different. This is a third kind of society, not even European society. So we always have to make adjustments, but ancient sciences are great sciences. They will always work.
Yeah, a lot of things changed. So how do you interpret a person's birth chart and what key elements are you focused on? For example, sometimes you focus on some planets, and after that, for some people, you can say maybe to go for work in some area, like in some design or in some maybe a fashion or something else. I know that in ancient time, even this kind of activities was unusual. And for example, for me, it felt like you can use some digital experience, for example, on YouTube. And how do you see it from this Vedic chart?
Yes. See, in Vedic astrology, we use 9 planets. Now, I must tell you that what we mean by planet in astronomy and what we mean by planet in astrology are different. Vedic astrological planets are Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, and 2 astronomical points called Rahu and Ketu. They are also used in Western astrology. They are called dragon's head, dragon's tail. So how do we call sun and moon planets? How can astronomical points be planets? So in astrology it is said that all heavenly bodies, bodies in the sky, or astronomical points which have impact or effect on the earth and its creatures, they are accepted as planets. Now all these planets have a lot of descriptions what they can mean. For example, very varied descriptions. For example, Venus. Venus can mean social media. Venus can mean pharma. Venus can mean glass. Venus can mean painting. It can mean acting. It can mean fashion. So similarly, for example, moon. Moon can indicate water. Moon can indicate ocean. Moon can indicate psychology. Moon can indicate, for example, lungs in our body, the lymphatic system. So every planet has a lot of options. Now, if we understand the real conceptions, the fundamental conceptions of a planet, whatever new subjects will come up in the world for working, for studying, or taking as hobby, whatever, we will be able to understand which planet, which zodiac sign, and there is something called house in the horoscope, or which constellation I should hold responsible for that. So a qualified astrologer, an experienced astrologer, may have to think a little bit, but finally he or she will be able to understand. We'll classify that new thing. But I must tell you, in the Vedic age in India, normally there were 4 kinds of castes or professions. One was teacher, priests, and advisors. They were called Brahmins. Then there were Kshatriyas, who were the management, organizing, and the defense, police, defense, all this kind of people. Then there were Vaishyas, who were the business people and the agriculture people, and the Shudras, who were mainly working for others and doing mostly physical activities, less intellectual activities. But now there are so many kinds of professions. You cannot just say you will have business. For example, I will tell you, it was in Poland. One lady told me what is her profession. She was very kind. She was telling everything by herself. And she had a strange profession, which is difficult for somebody to imagine. Like she says, when a car or a motorbike is confiscated by the police for parking in the wrong place, and by the time the owner comes and takes it, in the middle time, it is my job to keep it safely in my garage. So how can somebody think of this? It's very complicated to think exactly of, okay, somebody can say something connected to police, something connected to law, or something connected to automobile. But exactly this kind of thing is very complicated. So, or somebody, I will tell you a very interesting thing. There was a man who came to consult my uncle. It was a long time ago. And my uncle was having breakfast once again. He used to finish his breakfast and then come to the cabinet. His cabinet was on the first floor and his living place was on the second floor. So he will finish the breakfast and then come down. So I was sitting with that man, and the man was looking through the window outside and looking at people walking by. He was saying 4,000, 5,000, 3,000. And at that time I was surprised, what is he saying? And then my uncle entered. He was an old man. Uncle was old man. He was almost 80 years old. And he said, hey, why are you calling out numbers at people? What do you do? And he said, uncle, in India people greet old people like this. Uncle, I deal in skeletons. I supply skeletons. So when I see a big man, I feel happy. If he dies, this skeleton will be 5,000. And if it is a small man, the skeleton only 3,000. So I am not happy to see that. I am frustrated. I will get only 3,000 if I get his skeleton. So how can you imagine this kind of a profession? So, but when he says this profession, I can understand it is Saturn. Something connected to death is Saturn. So I can understand this kinds of things can happen. So more and more new things will happen, and we will keep classifying them into different groups. But I would say that still there are some you can be in any profession. You can be in any profession if you do it honestly. If it is good according to your horoscope, you will get success in that. Otherwise, you will have to work much harder to get success. Maybe you will get success, but 70%, not 100%. And we also need to see from the horoscope that it is not only about money but also happiness. What work can also give you happiness and also financial stability. Otherwise, you will do something for 10 years and you will get burnt out. And you will say, I don't want to do this anymore. What I will learn now. So these things can happen. So it is better to check with the astrologer when somebody is a teenager that what education I should take. It should be connected to the lucky profession.
Can you tell some more examples of this, like a good experience? For example, when you tell someone to find profession which will be good for them, and so then they become happy and lucky in these activities.
Yes. Some people have some special talents. Some people who have very nice Venus, they may have nice talent of designing something, creative something, even if it is graphic designing or it is interior designing, they are good at doing something creative. So if a person studies economics, but the person is a creative person, so when I see somebody's horoscope, I was telling somebody that you should either be an interior designer or an architect, because this person had good indication connected to real estate and creativity. So I told that. But this person was actually not connected to that. This person was working in a bank. But then she said, but I work in a bank. But then I said, are you happy with what you do? He said, not at all. Right now I am not working. I have left my job. I am burnt out. And in the bank, they make me do something that I don't believe in, something that I don't like, but I have to do that. So now, if a person, for example, is 40 years old, it is very difficult to start something from the beginning. But still, sometimes I have suggested some things to some people. Like I have a client, a very old client in St. Petersburg. It's the most beautiful city I have ever seen. So it is already Venus, the place. It's so beautiful. So anyways, so she stopped her bank job. She was worried. But luckily her husband was working well and he could support her for some period. But then she learned interior designing. And she learned another very interesting thing. That she learned something called Vastu, which is Indian Feng Shui. So this is also very interesting. Now, because she will work with interior designing, she studied this also. I suggested her to learn this. And now she is doing really very well. But most importantly, she is very happy. She doesn't feel burnt out. She is very happy. She is doing interior designing, and when somebody needs some Feng Shui type of rectification in St. Petersburg, I give her contact to those people. She is working with those people to rectify some architecture or rectify some energetic problems in the houses. So she is doing it very nicely. So she had almost stopped working. She said, I cannot go back to this work. I don't know what happened, but maybe there was some pressure to make the clients do something which she didn't believe in. But that could happen in all professions. But that was more happening in this bank profession because it was not suitable for her. Because it was unlucky profession for her. So, but now I am regularly in touch with her. When I go to St. Petersburg, she comes with her daughter, and me and my wife, we sit and have tea together. So she's working very nicely. So similarly, some people are good at communication, very communicative activities. And some people are stressed by communication. They want to sit at one place and do their activities, or they like to work from home. these kinds of things. So these things we need to read from the horoscope. What are the strengths and weaknesses? And for example, marketing. Not all people can do this job. Some people who are, who says that I cannot exaggerate anything, I don't want to say anything false claims or anything like that. Some companies which are not very honest companies can force you to do those things. But in general, marketing is a stressful job also, because there are targets and things like that. So what I see when I look at a horoscope, I see how much is the stress handling capacity in a person. It is very important, related to family life, related to professional life, and even related to health. People with high level of stress, they are more prone to different kinds of diseases. So you see, the stress level, I try to give some mineral or something which will help the person calm down and be strong from inside. Because there is a prayer there is a beautiful song. There was very famous songwriter, Nobel Prize winner Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore. So Tagore has a song. He is praying to God, don't solve all my problems. Don't wipe off all my tears. Just give me the power to fight my problems. So I try to do that for people. There are some techniques for that.
That's so important, to find good profession that fits really a person. And what kind of other problems can be solved?
Personal life is a very big thing. I have worked so much in India and so much in Europe. Also, I have worked with clients from Mauritius who are a little bit closer to the Indian culture. So I have worked with all kinds of people. Now, in India, the rate of divorce is less, but it doesn't always mean people are happy. People somehow force themselves to stay together for different kinds of material and social reasons. So it doesn't mean they are happy. But in Europe, separation is an easier option. So there people are separating. But sometimes I have to suggest a separation when I see both the people are unhappy, and in future also they will continue to be unhappy. But if, for example, I will tell you about a case, it was also maybe 2012-13, around this time, a businessman, he was already 50 years old at that time. He had already taken the decision that he would divorce. And he was not willing to discuss this topic. He had decided already. So, but I saw the man's horoscope that it is a bad time going through in the relationship. They both were, I saw the horoscopes, the periods, there are some things called planetary periods. There are transits, there are annual charts. So it was looking bad. But I saw that after 1 year, the relationship can improve. And again, things can become normal. So I just told him that if you do the divorce now, you will financially lose a lot of things. So please just stay quiet. You can even stay separately, but do the divorce procedure after 10 months from now. And after that, he didn't do the divorce procedure. They became happy again. So sometimes, if I had said, don't divorce, he was already kind of a very arrogant type of a man. He would say, I will do the divorce. So I decided to be diplomatic. So sometimes, you can avoid problems if you know what you should do, where from the problem is coming, and when the problem will stop. But if I see the problem will not stop in the next 10 years, then it makes no sense to stay together. Now, I must tell you, in Vedic religion, there is no divorce. So, if I stick to very old rules, I cannot practice in India also, because in India, divorce is a legal process now. All religions, they are having their divorce. So, but we have to try to make sure that there is a process to solve the problems. So I have to see that from which chart, from which planet, what kind of pressure is coming on the other person. What is the reason for the divorce? And if I can see that, then I can handle that planet and change the energy of the planet through minerals, often through minerals, through rituals, or even by throwing some things into flowing water. That is also a technique. For example, if your Saturn is very heavy, Saturn is the planet of loneliness and jealousy, possessiveness. So Saturn is controlled by black sesame seeds, indicated by black sesame seeds. If you can throw a particular amount of black sesame seeds on 8 Saturdays, day of Saturn, into flowing water or into the ocean, it can reduce the negative energy of Saturn. You can feel lighter. Or there can be other concrete solutions to some problems also. So there are many kinds of techniques are there. Many kinds of techniques are there. Even uses of some aromas can increase the power of some good planets and control some negative feelings. So this also can be done. But one thing I see here, there is a difference in reasons for divorce in India and in the West. In India, most of the divorces happen because of the relatives. It has a proven fact by statistics. Because a woman has to adjust and live together with the man's family, and the man has to adjust with the woman's family. So it's a marriage between two families, not two individuals. And quite often, because of the interference and confrontations with relatives, there are divorces. And this is most common. Second, you can say, is being unfaithful or something like that. But in Europe, there are divorces for other reasons also. Not feeling interest towards each other. The attraction has gone away. We are now like neighbors. We are not like partners anymore. We are like brother and sister living together. So these things don't exist in India. People don't understand what is this. Because in India, people say after 5 years of marriage, we are supposed to become friends, and after that, brother sisters. This has been happening over ages in India, and people know this. So sometimes I give some explanations from spiritual point of view, from some psychological point of view. It helps, but definitely there are a lot of techniques which can be used if I see there is a hope. If there is no hope, then better not to use any techniques. Better not to waste time.
And you also mentioned minerals as a good tool. Can you tell something more about minerals? And I wonder this connection, how some kind of minerals can be connected, for example, with some kind of planets.
There are some ancient books which says that a particular planet is connected with a particular mineral. Why? The explanation is not there. Because at some places, the ancient sages, the saints who basically scripted the astrology books, they said we got this knowledge through meditation. So I cannot question them. But the good thing is that all the books say the same list. There is no difference in opinions. For example, to strengthen your sun, you should use ruby or pink sapphire. For moon, you should use special kind of pearls, not normal pearls. For Mars, special kind of red coral. For Mercury, emerald. For Jupiter, yellow sapphire. For Venus, diamond or opal, fire opal. We prefer Australian fire opal. Then for Saturn, blue sapphire. For Rahu, a special kind of a garnet which is called hesonite. And for Ketu, a special kind of cat's eye called chrysoberyl cat's eye. Now these are mentioned, and these have been tried and tested for ages. And they have been working. But I must tell you that the prescription of minerals is not so easy, and there are too many opinions about this. Quite often, the less experienced astrologers or even very experienced astrologers suggest too many minerals. And that creates a problem. No mineral is able to work. But basically, these minerals are supposed to be some kinds of absorbing minerals for energies of different planets. Energies of different planets. And the color of the planet is connected to the color of mineral also. That is also happening. Because every planet has its own color. For example, moon's color is matte white. and Venus color is shiny white, glossy white. This different kinds of things. So I learned from my wife that even lip colors have matte and glossy. So then I I told her, okay, we also have matte and glossy in astrology, the white. So anyways, uh, so these are mentioned in very old books, about 1,500 years, 2,000 years old books. They are working. For example, you see, I am not wearing any mineral, but my wife is wearing two minerals. So it's not that everybody has to wear a mineral. It's not that wearing a mineral will make you a different person. It's not that. But these are protecting you and increasing your positive qualities and making your good planets stronger. So by giving minerals also sometimes amazing results happen. This has happened. No, I will tell you from Bulgaria, there was a girl who was a patient of depression. Depression means she was extremely introvert and lonely. Now, normally I don't suggest diamond because it is expensive. But I normally suggest opal instead of diamond. But this girl had such a heavy position of Saturn and a weak position of Venus. Now, Saturn is introvert and Venus is happy, extrovert, bright. So I suggested her mother that please, her birthday is coming, please gift her a diamond. And I told her how much diamond, we don't need too big, even less than 1 carat is enough. And we don't need very expensive. I don't want to scare anybody. We need just simple quality, just okay is okay. So she started wearing it, and I suggested some aromas in her room connected to Venus, which are rose, ylang ylang, and jasmine. And I suggest her she was sleeping with her head to the western side. Western side is Saturn. So I told her immediately to change it. So after 6 months, when I went back to Bulgaria, her mother was very happy. She has a lot of friends. She even has a boyfriend. So she has changed a lot. Because I saw there is a potential to change. It is possible. And I did something to make Saturn impact less and make Venus impact more. Both the things at the same time. So it helped. So these kinds of things are often happening with minerals. They can in health issues, for example, in cases where a woman is having a number of miscarriages, difficulty in having children, the use of Italian or Japanese red coral, a special quality is there. I cannot explain. A special quality is there. If that is used, it helps a lot in protecting your child because the quality of ovum is determined by Mars. So it gives strength to the reproductive system of a woman. It also helps in anemic problems. So in medical astrology also, I also have a course of medical astrology, which I have taught often to Ayurveda students. So in medical astrology, there is huge descriptions of how to use minerals. Because even in Ayurveda, sometimes there are uses of metals and mineral dusts, very little, and to intake them, to take them. Yeah.
I want to thank you so much, Arjun, for this interesting interview, and I hope that it will be as much interesting for our viewers. And I have a tradition to ask some questions or maybe to give some advice to our viewers. Maybe you will tell something in the end, like for
Yes,
them.
I would definitely. Firstly, once again, I must thank the viewers because they have given me a lot of time. They have given me a lot of time, so it proves they are extremely sincere about their life, their lifestyle. They are very sincere. So I will congratulate them, and I must tell them that if you believe in God, then the door of astrology is always open for you because we are not doing anything against the wish of God. We are doing everything under the guidance of God, under the trainings of God. So, if you want, you can definitely take the help of Vedic astrology. It's not that I have to be your astrologer, it's not like that. But Vedic astrology can definitely help you. It will not change your life overnight, but it will give a lot of, it will open a lot of new possibilities for you, a lot of new options for you. And at crossroads situations, when you don't understand where to go, to study or to work, to stay here or to go abroad, you can get a lot of important help in taking your decisions. If you have problems, some of the problems can be made lighter. So, but I'm never saying that you must come to me. You can go to any Vedic astrologer. But this is a wonderful spiritual science which is open for everybody in the world. Thank you. Spasiba.
Thank you so much, Arjun. And I want to tell for our viewers that you are free. Please write some comments or some questions, and we'll be happy to then answer. Okay, hope to see you again.
Thank you.